Hello, my fellow comic book collectors. This is one of my interview series, and I hope that I can earn the forgiveness of the guy that I'm just about to interview. So what happened was I was planning to interview him on a couple days ago, and I totally forgot what time was that I was supposed to meet him at. And I, I arrived like 20, 30 minutes late. And he's like, "Where are you?" And then so we had to reschedule. I had to apologize like a million times. And I'm apologizing again. And this guy is like, he is such a great collector slash friend slash person that has been kind of helpful with my channel because like I do this Friday challenge and pretty much most times he's pretty good about responding to my challenge and putting out videos. And when he puts out videos, like, if you know my channel, like I don't edit, I don't do all that crazy stuff. But he will actually do a response video that's better than the video that actually inspired the whole challenge. He'll do like these amazing videos where it's totally like edited and with like, kind of cool things in between transitions and stuff. I just really enjoy them. So without further ado, I want to invite Black Box Silver and Bronze and to the channel. Do I call you Joe?
Yeah, Joe.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
so I'll call him Joe.
Yeah.
So he has like one of the longest titles of channels too. It's like Black Boxed Silver and Bronze. So it's just like such a long name. Like, tell us a little bit about yourself and give us a little bit of your history.
Yeah. So, Alan, first of all, no worries. I told you didn't have to apologize. We all get busy. And thanks for having me. So, and thanks for the kind words.
Mm-hmm.
That name came as a result of my son because I was posting pictures on Instagram of my comics, and he said,
Mm-hmm.
"Dad, you got to separate your personal account from your comic account." And
Mm-hmm.
so I had to make my own comic account. So the family pictures were separate. And he was helping me like come up with names. So that is because my primary area of collecting was Silver and Bronze Age.
Yeah, I
And I
figured
had them
that part.
stored in all these black boxes. So, but I know it's a real pain.
Ah,
Everybody has a hard time.
it's like
Uh, it's
typing
very
is big.
long. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's not the best, but it kind of represented, you know, my comic collecting interest until recently. It's changed. But
Mm-hmm.
I started getting into comics not from comic books, but from the newspaper. And
Oh, okay.
so I grew up right next door to my grandmother, like literally, the houses
Mm-hmm.
were right next door. And so every Sunday, our family and her and my grandfather would go to church together. We'd come back and we'd spend the whole day at her house. And we'd have like a brunch there, and then we'd hang out and we'd have dinner there, and we'd watch like Walt Disney, the Sunday night Walt Disney thing,
Mm-hmm.
and Ellery Queen mysteries, or whatever was on, the Mutual of
Yeah.
Omaha, the Animal series. But she always got the Sunday paper. And so they always gave me the comics to read, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I got into the comics from that, like reading the Spider-Man comics, the Phantom, Dick Tracy. Those were my favorite ones, and I got into it from
Mm-hmm.
reading them. So I kind of blame my grandmother. So I mean, I used to take the Sunday
Oh,
comics, right?
wow.
And I had this scrapbook, and so I still have it. Like they're all glued in here, like in order, and I wrote the date in here and everything. So this
Wow.
was in 1977, and that's what got me into comic books or comics because I didn't
Mm-hmm.
know about comics. But then I
Mm-hmm.
became like super obsessed with Spider-Man, like Spider-Man, the Phantom, Dick Tracy. I loved all three, but I became super obsessed with Spider-Man. And so anything that was like Spider-Man, I wanted to like read or have. Like I remember they used to have like when you went to school, you got your back to school supplies, the folders with
And you
the
get like
superheroes
the
on it.
lunchbox with like
Yeah,
Spider-Man
the
and
notebook,
like, yeah.
anything. So everything, I had to have everything Spider-Man. And then I found like these little pocket books.
Oh,
Have you ever
okay.
seen these?
No, I haven't actually.
All
Those are
right.
cool.
And so this is like this one has issues 1 through 6 of Spider-Man.
Well, it's like
So
early trade paperback almost.
yes. And then the next one was like 7 through 13. And then
Wow.
this one was 14 through 20.
Oh,
So
nice.
I got into like having comic books, like not yet having comic books, just these.
But having books that are comics.
Yes. Then my grandmother's sister, my great aunt, she knew that I was all into this, and one of her neighbors was like getting rid of a shoebox of comics. So
Mhm.
she got that and she gave it to me, right? And it was, there must have been about maybe 20 or 30 comics in there, and it was like 12-cent and 15-cent marbles. I remember there was Thors and Hulks. There wasn't any Spider-Mans. Thors and Hulks, and there were some of the monster ones like
Okay.
Fear,
Oh,
Iron
Endangered
Man.
Mystery or something.
Good stuff. But
Yeah.
I brought those to school for like a show and tell.
Mhm.
And I found out that 2 other guys in the class were into comic books, you
Oh,
know?
cool.
So we started like trading comic books, like some people do
Mhm.
with the baseball cards and stuff.
Mhm.
And so we'd get together, we'd bring our comics over. And so, like I said, I was Spider-Man obsessed. So, like, one guy loved Iron Man, another guy liked Thor and Hulk. So I was like trading these and getting like um, Bronze Age, late Bronze Age Spider-Mans.
Mhm.
And that's how I found out about comic books, right? And so once I became friends with these guys, they told me like where to buy comic books because I had no idea. And
Okay.
in our town, this was before the direct market, right? So
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
there
You had
were,
to go to like the magazine shop or whatever it was.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And so there were, in our town were 2 luncheonettes that
Mhm.
had comic books on spinner
Like
racks.
spinner racks. Yeah.
Yeah. So I used to like go there. And
Mhm.
then one was kind of close to my house. I could bike over there. The other one was a little bit further. My parents probably wouldn't want me biking that far across town.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, but my dad used to every once in a while he'd take me there, right? He'd drive me over to this other one.
Mhm.
And I still remember like I was buying them at the time when they were like 30 cents, right? And so I had a paper route and I'd save up some money and then I would like go there and get 3 comics because
Nice.
it would be I'd have like $1, right?
Yeah, and you
And
could get like 3. Yeah.
I
Yeah.
could get 3 because it was like 90. There was about 5 cents tax. It was like
Mhm.
95 cents. So I'd go there, I'd pick three comics off the spinner rack. And then I remember it went up to like 35 cents, right?
That
And my
sucks.
dad took me there and I went and I picked out 2 comics and he's like, Joe, why aren't you getting 3 comics? You always get 3 comics. I'm like, Dad, they went up, 35. I can't afford it anymore. I only got
Yeah,
$1.
yeah,
Right? He's like, go pick another one. I'll pay for the difference. Right.
yeah.
So I always remember that. That was like a big memory for me about my dad, like kicking in the money.
Mhm.
Although it was,
It was
insignificant
like
to
5
me,
extra cents, but
it was a
yeah.
big deal. So I got my 3 comics. And so that's how
Mhm.
I got into it. And then from there, there was this mall near my house. It was called the Bergen Mall. And in the basement was a smaller mall, like a crafty mall. Like the main floor was like Macy's and Sears and all those big stores. But in this basement was it's called the Village Mall. And you had to go down this creepy escalator to get to it. And then through this, like, the gated doors that they would open.
Mhm.
There's about 30 or 40 shops in there, like a macrame place and a candle place. And but there was also a little train store, which I like trains too.
Mhm.
And then there was a comic book store, and that was the first place I ever saw like back issue comics, right? And
Mhm.
I was like, they had the comics up on the wall, like behind me, right?
Yeah,
And it was
yeah,
like, and bins of comics, and I was like, this
yeah. In
is
heaven, man.
amazing, right?
That's awesome,
And I
man.
remember like the the first two back issue comics I bought. This was one of them.
Oh wow, that's a
Okay,
good first back issue to pick up. That's a
yeah,
nice one.
Daredevil number 16,
14?
right?
16.
And of course, I got this because Spider-Man's. I was Spider-Man crazy, right? I didn't even
I
know
think
about
that's the
Daredevil
first
yet.
Bermuda on Spider-Man, isn't it?
Yeah, I thought
Yeah.
this was such a cool cover because it's like on the photo cover and it had
Mhm.
Spider-Man. And then I read it, and then I was like, wow, Daredevil's really cool too. So that became like another comic that I became very interested in was Daredevil. And then I also picked this one up,
Oh, nice.
which you can imagine as a kid, you like see that and you're like,
I know, it
that
looks
looks
really
really
cool. I
cool.
thought that was a cool cover.
What's
Yeah.
going on there, right? And so those
Mhm.
were the very first two covers that, or the first two back issues that I ever
That you
picked up. I
Wow.
remember that very clear as day.
Yeah, it's sort of like me with my first memory. I always go on about my picking up Howard the Duck
Howard
as
the
my
Duck,
very first.
yeah.
You know, it's,
So because I was like interested in like Spider-Man and I wanted to, find out like all those earlier issues that they had missed. I bought a lot of Marvel Tales and things like that.
Mhm.
But that's what kind of sparked my interest into like the comic period, like right before I started collecting, right?
Mhm.
The silver and bronze, and thus the name.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
then when this YouTube thing started coming out and I started like,
Mhm.
and also I never like really got into Golden Age because
Mhm.
in my mind it was like beyond my
Unattainable, right?
means. It was
Yeah,
like
that's
you
what I thought
think of
too.
like the first Batman, the first Wonder Woman, the first, action
Mhm.
comics, and they're going for hundreds of thousands or millions of dollars. And I was like, Golden Age is beyond me. But then
Mm.
when I started watching the Night Tiger channel and like
Yep.
all the Golden Age he was showing, which like I had no idea about that all of these other things existed and that how
Mhm.
cool they were and that you could actually afford some of them.
Yeah.
Then I started getting into that, and that's been like a big interest of mine now is the Golden Age, and I love watching your channel and seeing all the stuff
All
that
this
you
Golden
show and the
Age stuff.
stories that you tell about it. Like I've got a
Mhm.
few in here on the wall that like I found out about from you, like
Mhm.
Lady Luck. I know you like Lady
Yeah,
Luck quite
I
a
like
bit,
Lady Luck. Yeah.
and so I got a copy. I think it's her first named title, the one where she's standing like
On the two
straddling those
cars.
two
Yeah,
cars. Yeah.
that's her first name title. Yeah.
Yeah. So I got that one, and then you do a lot on the seduction of the innocent, and
Mhm.
I think this is a Sodi book. I'm not sure, but it's really cool. Is the one where they're trying to lure the girl out of the school with the candy?
It's not a Soti book,
Yeah,
but it is a very cool book.
yeah,
Yeah. That's a Charles B. Rowe cover.
yeah, yeah.
That's
So I
really
have
great.
a couple of those, and really I find out a lot about these by like watching your channel, Mike's channel, other people's channels where they're showing these. Oh man, I didn't know about that. I got to look for that now.
Yeah, yeah. No, yeah. I mean, uh, before I started collecting Golden Age, I mean, I had the same sort of impression that these books are you can't find them, and if you do find them, you have to sell your house.
Right, right,
That's kind of the impression that I had.
right.
And once you start dabbling in it, there's a lot to be had that you can buy really cheaply. Yesterday I just won a bunch of auctions where like right now it's really good time to buy, by the way. Kind of bad for my wallet, but good time to buy
Yeah.
because the prices are insane. Like I picked up uh, 5 Golden Age books, all in like fine condition plus. Okay, so high
Mhm.
grade for Golden Age, and they're new funnies. I'm not or famous funnies. I think famous
Mhm.
funnies, and I picked them up for like the total bid price was $28.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like, and they had nice covers. They all were like the Invisible Girl,
Mhm.
Scarlett O'Neill
Yeah, yeah,
cover.
yeah.
Just really cool. And I was like, oh wow, that's really
One of
awesome.
the other things that I love about like finding these like that, at those prices and stuff is
Mhm.
that um you're getting like these historical paper documents, right?
Mhm.
Which are like hanging on, you know, and they shouldn't be here, but they still
Yeah.
are, right?
Somehow they
And it's
managed to
like
survive.
you could get them for the same price as a modern book, right? Or less. And
Yeah.
it's like I like the stories better. They're more pure,
Yeah.
you know.
There's
You
a
know,
certain charm to the golden age. Like,
charm.
you know,
Yeah, yeah,
yeah.
exactly.
They weren't trying to push an agenda. Like I always get in trouble for that, but they weren't trying to push an agenda. They were just trying to tell great stories. And
Right.
I think there's a certain thing that has great appeal to that.
Yeah.
So yeah. So how will you show some of the books in your collection? I'm always drooling over your back wall, by the way. Like I mentioned this before we started this video, but that wolf gal that's like by his head there is a book that I've been hunting and hunting for, and I still have not managed to get. I just love that book.
Well, one of the books I was going to show was Wolfgal.
Oh wait,
So
wait, you have two of them?
yes, I do.
You're such a jerk. Okay.
Yeah.
That's a great book.
So these are look. I got one. I
Mhm.
just thought it was a really cool cover, right? And I
It
had
is
never
really
read
cool.
Andy or Al Cap's
Yeah,
Little
yeah,
Abner or Wolfgal before, and I got it because I just saw it and I was like, oh, that's really cool. And
yeah.
I read it. This is one of the funniest stories you can
I
read.
know.
It's
Yeah, yeah,
really
yeah.
good.
It's
And
really funny. Yeah.
she's like raised by wolves, right?
Mm.
That's why she's called Wolf Gal, and she's super hot. And she goes out and like meets these geeks, right? And she's
Mhm.
like, "Hey, you want to come to dinner?" And they're like, "Wow, this beautiful woman is, you know, interested
Yeah,
in me." She's
yeah,
like, "Yeah, I want to bring you to dinner for my family." And they're like, "All right, all right." But she's bringing them as dinner, not
yeah.
to
As dinner.
dinner. She's
Yeah, I
bringing
know.
them to the wolves. It's hilarious. So
Yeah.
anyway, I got the one, and then I saw this other one, and um, I'll just keep buying them because this is like one of my 5 favorite covers. So
So it's sort of funny. Like whenever I interviewed Dragon Ink, and he like I've been trying to get this Marvel Captain Marvel Adventures number
yeah,
one,
yeah,
and he keeps on buying them. He has like 3 or 4 of them. I'm like he's always bidding me on it. It's like so
yeah.
annoying. So you're the other person that I have to like
You got to compete with me for the Wolf Gal.
with Gal runs. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's kind of
I
funny.
really like it. I would say like um, in all of the comics I have, you know, that's in my top 5. I just really love it. I don't know.
You know,
There's
it's funny.
something
It's
about it
yeah,
that speaks to me. I really like the colors and plus the story is just like it's really really funny. So
yeah,
everybody, you
yeah.
know, you should try to read that story if you could read it online or
I
something.
read. Yeah, I read it online. So
Yeah.
that's yeah.
So here's another one, which is one of my favorite comics, which is Fantastic Four number 12.
Another one I'm looking for.
And
That's really
so
great.
this one is I'm a huge Jack Kirby fan. I'm going to show you a comic later. I
Hmm.
didn't know when I was a kid that I was a Jack Kirby fan because
Hmm.
I didn't know that much about the
The artist.
creators,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
But I found out later as I like found out about this guy, like all the stuff that I liked a lot, he was involved in. And I
Hmm.
loved his I just loved the style. It was like so action packed and like exciting,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah,
And so when I see this one, I think this is just great because you're a kid and you're reading these comics, and who are the 2 strongest guys in Marvel? These 2 guys, right?
yeah,
And you're
yeah,
imagining like what would happen if they met, right?
yeah.
Like who would win, right? And here, it's about to happen, right? I mean, the way he
Hmm.
drew this, it's about to happen. They're about to meet. So this is really one of my favorite ones. I love this one so much. So I wish I had a little bit better copy, but you know, put down here,
It's
you know,
becoming like that book. It just keeps on going up.
I know. I'm really happy I got it when I did because now
Yeah.
I get to the point where like I just like I have so many other things that I want to spend my money on that
Hmm.
oh, I was going to say this about like the way you collect too, like where
Hmm.
you'll have lower grades or restored copies to like
Hmm.
have that. I feel the same way. Like I've got
Hmm.
lots of comics that are like 1.0s. It's like split covers or
Yeah,
something.
yeah, yeah,
It looks great. Like you say, hey,
yeah.
look, you look
It's
at
in the
this, it
slab.
looks
You can't
great,
tell.
right? And so it's
Yeah.
really nice to have it in my personal collection that I could enjoy it, right?
Mhm.
Here's another one I really like. This is called
Here, I'm gonna make you
Comics
big.
Novel Number
See?
One.
Okay, there we go. Now you
And
can see it.
it's this is not the title. The title is this one up here, Comics Novel Number One. But
Mm.
I thought this was really cool. And this is a anti-communism story. So I didn't mention that, but I do like all of the comics that have like anti-communism stories.
Mhm.
I was in the Navy for 24 years and very patriotic. And so, when we were growing up, the big threat was the Cold War and the Soviet Union. So all the anti-communist stories I really enjoy. So that's another one. And
When
then
was that one from?
what year?
Yeah, it's like late 40s, right?
Yeah, yeah, it is. I think it might be around like 46. I don't have the date here, but it's a Fawcett comic, and it was like not a
It was a one
series.
shot. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I have it as well.
Oh, you have it?
Yeah.
Yeah, not a lot of when I show this, not a lot of people have seen it
Yeah,
before.
no, it's a rare book.
Yeah.
I saw it on auction on Heritage, and then I lost on it because I thought it was something about it kind of spoke to me. Something I thought the cover was kind of interesting. That it's a book, and it has that sort of 3D kind of book.
Yeah, yeah, I like that too.
And then I lost on the auction, so I was like, oh, I was like all disappointed that I didn't get it. And then a month later, I was like, going to this comic shop where they were selling me Crime Suspense 6. I think it's Crime Suspense 6, the one with the girl and the hooded figures behind her.
Yeah, yeah.
And they said, oh, we also have, a couple long boxes of Golden Age. So I picked up that book. It was in there. And it was like, people don't reprice their Golden Age.
Yeah.
So like I picked it up like for a steal. Like I think it was like $50 Canadian, which is like, that's not not the going rate. It's like that would be like $30 US or something,
Yeah, and you know what? Even though you like lost that auction, it's like it's always exciting when you actually go somewhere and you're digging, and then like something like that is like, oh my God, I'm looking for that thing.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. It's kind of
that
cool.
happened to me the other day. On Friday, I drove out towards Nashville to do some comic hunting, and I found one of the comics that you gave away, which was the one that if I won on your giveaway, I would have wanted, which was the Silver Age appearance of Catwoman.
Oh, I didn't give that one away.
That's not the one you gave away?
No, the guy actually wanted
G.I. Joe?
No, he wanted the other one.
The Werewolf by Night.
Werewolf by Night. He chose right because that book has gone through the roof, right?
Yeah.
If you want my Lois Lane #1, I'll trade you for the Wolf
No,
Gal.
I got it. I got it the other day. And actually,
okay. I would have traded it for the Wolf Gal. I would.
Yeah, I know. But I found that's what I found the other day. I finally found that one. So
that's a great book. I love that cover.
Yeah. It's really I've wanted it, but I didn't want to pay, like it was going up in price, and I didn't want to pay the price that it was at.
Yeah.
But I found a decent copy for only $70 the other day. So I was
it's one of those weird books. Like DC has not really performed well in terms of the comic pricing, but that was one of the books that did kind of start to climb. Because I didn't pay much for the copy that I had and that I was going to give away, but I was like shocked by how much it had gone up to.
Yeah.
Like, I paid like $50 and it was worth like $200-300.
I know. That's why I didn't want to buy it. They're like $200-300 for like the lower grade one. So when I found it for $70, I was
that's a good deal.
Stoked.
That's a good deal. Yeah.
So here's another. This is an interesting one. This is called The Strange World of Your Dreams.
I know this. I know this title as well. This is a cool book.
I think it's Simon and Kirby. I think it ran for 4 issues, and this one is really cool. I'm going to take it out of the bag and show you something here. I bought this one from Jesse Simon.
Oh, nice.
The grandson of Joe Simon.
Yeah.
And honestly, I can't believe that he sold me this one because
it's signed.
It's signed by Joe Simon.
Nice.
So this is.
I always think that's a bonus when you get like something.
Yeah, I'm really thrilled to have something, signed by Joe Simon. So thank you, Jesse, if you're watching. This is another really cool one that I got. This is Ghost Rider #3.
Oh, wow.
And this is a Frank Frazetta cover.
Mm-hmm.
And it's got the train on it, which I love.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just a beautiful cover.
Yeah,
but I'm not going to take this one out because it's not in, such great shape. But this one is signed by Dick Ayers as well.
Oh, wow. Wow.
Yeah.
So you got some pretty cool signatures.
Yeah. So I got some pretty cool. I never got them in person, but there's some cool signatures. And then this is Baffling Comics. I don't know the number on this one.
Oh, that's a great one. Yeah. I actually been picking up the Baffling series as well. And that was one of the ones that was on my kind of like hunt list because it's just such a
You don't have this one yet?
No, I don't.
Yeah. So this is it's a really cool one. The thing is, like I've said, it's the cost. Like these can be pretty expensive. So this is a lower grade one, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's I think the cover's detached, and you could see the chip here. But like the main thing is like I can hold it like cover, this, and nobody would know.
The main focal point is there.
The focal point is good, right?
Yeah.
So
and the colors are actually very solid.
Yeah. So I was really happy to get this one because they're pretty pricey as well.
Personally,
now this next one. Go ahead, you go.
I was just going to say quickly about that one that you just showed. I always it's almost like a trope, like a horror movie trope, where you have the swamp creature or some creature coming from the lagoon, and he grabs the woman in the bikini. I don't know why it's a woman always in a bikini.
Yeah, and red, right? Red.
Yeah, and she's wearing red too. Just has everything going for it. It's just such a great cover.
That's a really great one. This one is another one of my all-time favorites, and I was really stoked to get this one because this one can be pricey too. It's Adventures into Unknown #58.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just got this really cool, robot destroying the train cover.
Yeah,
so it's really cool. It's got the trains that I like, and it's just
this 3D comic too.
Yeah, and so I was going to just talk about this really briefly because this was ACG, American Comics Group, back in the 50s when that 3D craze was going on. 3D comic books, 3D movies.
Mm-hmm.
They got into it with this thing called True Vision. And so you don't need glasses for this. So it's simulated 3D. These are really cool. There's about 18 comics that they did with this across all of their titles.
Mm-hmm.
And what inside the borders of the pages, instead of being white or cream colored, they're black, just like the cover.
Okay.
And so in each panel, what they would do is just like here, you see the robot, his head is sticking up out of the panel in the train. And they would make the main figures in the scene like a brighter color. Yeah. And everything in the back was kind of like subdued hues to give you the illusion of this 3D.
Well, even looking at that cover there, I mean, it looks kind of 3D.
Yeah.
Just the way that it's done.
And so if you get these and you read through them and you see these like black pages, it's just like, it's stunning. Mm-hmm. So I decided that I wanted to try to get all of these. They're not all, they're across different titles: Adventures into the Unknown, Kilroy's, Cookie. There's two romance titles. Here's one, Lovelorn.
Oh, interesting.
And these are the toughest ones to find. So the romance titles, I think the other one's called Romantic Adventures. And the romance ones are the toughest to find and the most expensive. And so there's 6 of them, 3 Lovelorn and 3 Romantic Adventures. And I'm down to missing. I just need one. I have almost 18 of these now. So
if I see them, I'll point them out. Like, I'll probably start collecting those too. I just think I love that.
They're great. Get one and just look at it, and you'll be like, but you got to like look in it, like not just the cover. Like you got to look inside, and you'll be like, this is really amazing.
Mm.
Yeah.
I
And
like
then
those kind of things.
in some of the comics, so most of these comics have like 3 stories in them.
Mhm.
And in most of these, all 3 of them are in the True Vision. But in some of them, it was only 2. Like the first one would be, and then the middle one was
Okay.
just regular, and the third one was True Vision again. But
You'd
they're
think it would
really
be a
cool.
bit more
They're really
expensive
cool.
to do that, because if you have to do a lot of black ink on the page, that would actually be a pretty expensive thing to do.
Yeah, and that's what they did. It was like I've never seen anything like it. So
Wow.
I found out about it by getting that robot one, and then I was like reading it, and I was like,
Mhm.
this is really cool. So I did a little research, and there's 18. Yeah,
Wow. Okay. So yes, those are something to look for. That
yeah.
on the hunt for those ones now.
This is the Mask of Dr. Fu Manchu. You ever seen this one? Do you have this one?
Yeah, I don't have it, but I've seen it.
Yeah,
I know it. Yeah,
yeah. That's
I've
really
lost on auction once on this one. I tried getting it once.
yeah. This one, I think there's another one. It's like an IW reprint, which I think it's called the. I
I think
think
it's
it's
something.
this. I think it's a reprint of this.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And then this is one I just got the other day. This is Fantastic Comics,
Hmm.
and I just loved this cover. I'd never seen it before, and then I saw it come up, and I was like, wow, I really like how the color of the cover goes from like pink into the purple, right? And then the robots destroying the town. And you talked about this in one of your other interviews the other day about how in the 50s, this is how the women would, in the horror
Yeah,
movies, like,
yeah,
oh
yeah,
my
yeah,
God,
yeah.
right?
They always do that. Yeah.
And that reminds me of that guy on the corner of Action
Of
Comics,
Action
like
One.
running away from
Yeah,
Superman with the car.
that's the first thing I saw when I saw that. It has
Yeah,
that sort of Action One component to it.
right.
Where,
Yeah.
yeah.
And then the only thing about this is like there's 3 stories in here. This
Hmm.
picture has nothing to do with any of the stories. There's no robots running amok in this book.
So that's very typical too of Golden Age books, where the cover has nothing to do with what's inside, but it looks great.
Right, right. Um, I grabbed this one out because recently you mentioned about like how the
Shadow.
Shadow is like you could get good deals on Shadow
Yeah.
comics. I found this one on in Delaware, a comic book shop in Delaware. They
Hmm.
had it in the case. I think it was like $125, and
Yeah,
I
that's what
was
I'm
like,
talking about, and that's high grade too. It looks like a
yeah. And
good
I
sort
was
of
like, I'm
classic
buying
picture.
this. Like, you don't really see these around that much, but they're really cool. The
Hmm.
Shadow is like a famous, personality superhero from the radio and the books and the comics. And so I did want to have some kind of Shadow represented in my PC. So
Yeah,
I grabbed that one. And then I think you will like this one too. Here's Jeddah.
Jetta. Yeah,
Yeah. So between you, me, and Martine from Australia, we got all 3 of them. So
yeah.
you got the robot one, I got this one, and
They're all really great covers from that
they
series.
are. I've wanted all 3 of them for a very long time, and they're kind of pricey. I was trying to get Night Tiger to trade his to me, but I
He sold
know
it.
that's now in Canada.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and then I got some slabs. Oh, I didn't show this one, but
Okay.
this is the prize of my collection. Okay.
Okay. Show me your
So
prize.
this is it.
Oh wow, Daredevil one. Nice.
Daredevil #1. So
And it looks like it's in high grade. Am I mistaken? Or it
it's
looks really
pretty
high.
good. I think it's about a maybe a
Like 5?
5.0.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm pretty good at grading comics.
Yeah.
Instantly.
And like I showed earlier, I got that Spider-Man Daredevil crossover, and that turned me on to Daredevil. And so I was collecting Daredevil all the way through college, like all the the Frank Miller stuff. And
Hmm.
I was just a really big Daredevil fan. I have now, I think I have a complete run from 1 to 100.
Wow.
Um, and this is like, this is like the prize.
The
I love
Grail.
this
Yeah, the
comic.
Grail. It's a pretty big book.
Yeah.
So did you
And the
pick
thing
that?
about this was it's gone up recently because of the Netflix and him
Yeah,
being in
yeah.
the movie and stuff. But the thing that blew me away about this was like when I got this, I always wanted to have like the Marvel grails, like the Fantastic Four, X-Men, Amazing Fantasy, Spider-Man, Hulk, right? Like the number
Mhm.
ones. And they're all like really very, very pricey. And this one wasn't. It was like,
Yeah,
it wasn't
it was undervalued for the longest time.
undervalued. It was like it should be in the same league as those. They were all the beginnings of the Marvel universe, right?
Mhm.
And but it was way down. So I bit the bullet and paid up and got that one.
So
Um,
when did you get that one?
I got that one about maybe 3-4 years ago.
Okay, so that was a good time to buy it because
Yeah,
it was still way undervalued at that time.
yeah,
Like I
yeah,
picked up my copy 2, 3 years ago, and it was still just before it had spiked,
yeah,
and but it went through the roof like right after that, like 5 times value
yeah.
or
I
something.
didn't get it for cheap. I mean, I saved up for that one. It was like that one I paid like I would say I think I paid maybe like 1,200, 1,400. It was like over
Yeah,
$1,000, and it was like for me that was like a big outlay, you
yeah,
know.
yeah, yeah.
So
But my point is that book now is like 10 to 15 thousand
yeah,
dollars.
yeah. No, I got it
You
like,
know, like,
and that's why I did it too. I was like, this is a lot of money for me, but I was like,
mhm.
I kind of feel priced out of all those other ones that I
Yeah,
mentioned,
yeah,
right? I
yeah,
said if I want to have any big Marvel key, I just got to bite the bullet and get this one before it gets to that range, you know,
yeah.
because for me it's like it's not that I can't do it, but I just
You'd have to sacrifice a lot
I
to
don't want
do
to
it.
like spend $10,000 on a comic book, right? I'd
Yeah, yeah,
rather
yeah.
there's other things I'd rather do with that money. So I'm really happy to have that one.
Yeah, no,
And then
that's a
if we
really
still
cool
have
book.
time, I got some slabs here
Yeah,
that
show the slabs. Show the
all
slabs.
right.
Like,
All right. So this
like
one is I got some really cool ones. This is Captain Victory #1
oh,
and
nice.
in a 9.8. And I was telling you earlier about like
Kirby.
Jack Kirby.
Yeah.
This is like kind of part of the reason that I really like Jack Kirby because I remember when this came out, I bought not this particular copy that's slabbed. I do have mine in my boxes over there, but I
Mhm.
remember buying these off of the rack um, at that. It was that comic book store in the Village Mall.
Mhm.
They brought these in, and it wasn't on a spinner rack, but they brought these in, and I was just blown away. Like I love this style. I love the gadgetry. I love the coming
Do you-
at you
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's
poses
very.
that Kirby's famous for, and all the insectoids and everything. And so,
I mean, there's a
um,
lot of detail on that book,
yeah.
both the front and back cover. I mean, it's just so much detail.
Do you have
There.
this?
No, I don't. No.
So the other thing is, this is supposedly a continuation of the New Gods from DC. Like this is
Mhm.
supposed to be the son of Orion,
Oh, okay.
who was one of the New Gods. And
Yeah,
so
yeah,
I have my complete run from when I bought them, but I also picked up all the slabs, and I there's only 13 issues, and
yeah,
I
yeah.
have of the 13 issues, 12 of them are in 9.8, and one's in 9.6, and I want to correct that.
So, but that looks like a hard book to get in a 9.8. It's like so much black on that cover.
Yeah, yeah.
That'd be
And the other
really
thing
hard.
is, I actually have about 5 or 6 copies of this because they're in the nobody cares about them but me,
Yeah,
so
yeah.
they're in the dollar bins, and I always pick them up because um, just like that Joe Simon signature on the bottom of that comic that I showed, like Jack Kirby used to sign on the bottom of the
Yep.
first page.
Yeah.
So one of these days, I'm going to get one out of a
You're gonna
dollar
find
bin
one.
and open it up, and his signature is going to be in there.
Well, it's sort of like Ninja Turtles. A lot of people don't realize, but a lot of the Ninja Turtle books are signed as well. And if
Yeah,
you're careful, you can find like Eastman or later.
I got. They did this character called the Fugitoid. Have you heard of that one?
Yeah, yeah, I have that book.
Yeah, I picked that up at the comic store in Hawaii, and when I
Mhm.
got home and opened it up, it was signed by Kevin Eastman inside.
Nice,
And
nice.
the guy didn't know, like he wasn't selling it as an autographed copy. Um,
Hmm.
But so yeah, you're right. I mean, you can get
You can
lucky with
find them.
those as well. This one I think you're gonna like. This is Star Trek: The Wrath of Khan #1,
Oh, nice.
and I've got it signed by
By
Leonard
William
Nimoy
Shatner.
and William Shatner.
Wow.
And then I have there's a variant cover of this, which just has a big head of Spock on it, and I've got that one signed by Leonard Nimoy.
That was my favorite movie from all the Star Trek
Oh,
movies.
it's the best. Continues
Yeah.
from Space Seed from the TV show.
Yeah. I love that movie.
I don't know if a lot of people know that, but it's like it continued from one of the TV
No.
shows. Yeah.
I think that was like, the first Star Trek movie was kind of so-so, to tell you the
Yeah.
truth. And then that movie was just so like it really captured the feeling of the TV series, like
Yes.
the kind of adventure and
Yeah.
action and like
Yeah.
just I really love that movie. It's the best of any of the Star Trek movies.
I agree. And I remember you mentioning about watching the Star Trek TV show. I remember they had it one weekend. They had it on like PBS. It was like a marathon.
Mhm.
And I just had a bunch of VHS tapes, and I was recording the whole thing. And I had every episode on these tapes. I used to watch them over and over.
Yeah, see, I never bothered to record. Like I recorded other things
Mhm.
with VHS, but I never bothered to record Star Trek because for some reason it was on every day.
It was always on. Yeah.
It was always on, so
Yeah.
I'd watched every episode like a dozen times.
Yeah.
Like I love Star Trek. It's
Yeah, me
great
too.
stuff.
This is one of the first slabs that I bought. This is World War III.
Oh, nice.
And you could see it's even in the older, style there. But I just really liked the artwork on there. I thought that was really cool. So
I like the destruction.
Yeah,
That makes sense.
it's really cool. And then this is I was a big Charlie Chan fan. This is
Okay.
the Edgar Church Mile High copy of Charlie Chan #5.
Nice.
And I used to watch the TV show, the syndicated reruns in the summer. And so when I found out there was a Charlie Chan comic, I went after. This is a Simon and Kirby cover. And I think there were 5 issues by this prize publications. And then it continued 6, 7, and 8 with another one. I have all of them. And I've got some really, high grades for Golden Age.
9.4 is really high grade.
Yeah.
Like that looks like a modern book just because of the grade. Like it looks like brand new.
There was you got one from that recent, was it called the Promise Collection?
Yeah, the Promise Collection.
There was a Charlie Chan that was in the Promise Collection, and I bid on it, but I got blown away.
Oh, I didn't bother. Like some of them, anything Promise Collection was just crazy price.
Yeah.
Like 3-4 times like the cover, like the fair market value for the book.
Yeah, it was crazy.
Yeah.
Here's T-Man #12. This is also the Mile High copy. And this is my favorite Golden Age series to read.
I knew that from watching your channel that you like that series.
Oh, it's all anti-communist stuff. He goes all over, and there's Mussolini in it, and Hitler, and fascism, and communism, and it's just great stuff. It's action-packed. He's going around protecting the interests of the United States all over the world. And so I've got a nice collection of this. I'm trying to complete it, get them all in, nice high grades for the Golden Age, like, 5.0s and above. Yeah. And I've probably got about 2/3 of them now.
So there's a Sophie book that's a T-Man made it into the Seduction of the Innocent.
Really?
Yep. So there's one of them that's a Sodi book. I'm not sure. I could look it up. I'll tell you after we record this video.
Okay. All right.
You might have it, is my point.
I might. I have most of them. So I have like really cheap reader grade ones, a bunch. And then I have slabbed ones, and I'm trying to put the whole slab set together. And I'm getting there. I'd say I'm probably about 2/3 of the way there. But I don't want like I don't want, like, I'm being picky. Like, I want the higher grade ones, you know?
Okay,
So
that's
this
commendable.
is really cool. This one is another one of my favorite comics. Um, I've only ever seen this one copy of it. And
Oh, nice.
it's The Adventures of Mighty Mouse, and it had that train cover.
Hmm.
And this is from, it's the UK edition. And it's
Okay,
Adventures of Mighty Mouse number 18 from 1955. And
nice.
so um, I keep it, it was in pretty bad shape. Like over along here, there was all like kind of, I don't know, like rust or dirt or something.
Hmm.
So I had it professionally cleaned and pressed, and it looks a lot better than it does. But if you get up close, you can see all those spots.
Yeah, it looks like it was probably stacked, like, and then it just hanging out on the stack or something and got dirty.
Yes,
Or
yeah. And so I've never ever seen another copy of it. So I'm super happy to have that one. And then this one is another one that's really cool.
oh, okay, thank you,
Have you
again.
seen this one?
I have seen that one. Another cool book that I'm looking for.
Yeah, Manhunt
I
number
like the
9
good
from
girl element.
1948. It's the girl in the red dress, right? The golden age trope, right? And
Hmm.
in the train is a skeleton conductor there, or
Yeah,
engineer.
that's
And
really great.
so that's really cool. I
Who
got
did
two
the cover
more.
on that one?
This is another one of the. This was one of the other first slabbed ones I ever bought. This is Fight
Oh, wow,
Comics
fight.
number 35, Fiction House from 44, Joe Doolin.
I love that one.
It's gorgeous. And some guy named Christensen stamped his name all over this. It's like
I can't see that, but
it
oh, yeah,
blends
yeah,
in
yeah.
really well. I didn't even
I
know
see it
for a
a
while
couple
that there's
times.
like 5 of them throughout here, but because of the color, it
It
kind of
sort of
blends
blends
in
in.
very well.
Now that comic, actually, I bought twice. One time, the Canada Post lost it in the mail, so
Oh
I had to
no.
get it again.
What about the other time?
The other time, I'm just hoping it's going to arrive. It's still in the
Oh,
mail.
it's coming soon.
Coming soon to a theater near you. Yeah.
All right, this is the last one that I brought out. This is
Oh, another great one.
Ghost Rider number 1.
Hmm.
And I would really like to complete this series. There's only maybe like 13 of them.
Yeah, it's not many in the series.
Not many. I think I have 1, 2, I have 5. One of them, half the cover is missing, but they're tough to
Hmm.
find. So
Yeah.
this was I was really happy to get this one. And it's in a decent grade too, a 4.5, with that black cover on the top and everything, and just really cool. So that's what I brought out.
No, those are great. Those are great books. So actually, with Ghost Rider, I have 2 books from the first series, and then I have the complete run of the second series.
2 books from the first series, the complete run from the second series, the Marvel
Yeah.
one.
No. Is it Marvel? Who did the second series? I don't
Yeah,
know.
are you talking about this Ghost Rider?
Yeah, that Ghost Rider.
Yeah, the Marvel did the second.
Marvel
It was like
did the
4
second
issues,
series?
right?
No, it's like a whole bunch of issues.
Oh, I don't. Then I'm
Maybe I'm mistaken. Maybe I actually have the first series and only 2 issues of the second series.
so.
'Cause I had like a full run.
This is the first series,
Yeah,
but
that's from
he
1950,
appeared.
right?
Yeah, 1950. Yeah, 1950 exactly.
Yeah.
But he appeared. This isn't where he first appeared. He appeared
I know he
in
appeared in Tim
Barbecue.
Holt.
What is it?
Tim Holt.
Tim Holt. That's right.
Tim
So I
Holt,
don't have that
#1.
one. But then this was the first series, and then the same guy, not the Ghost Rider on the motorcycle. This
Yeah.
Ghost Rider on the horse. I believe the second appearance was in Marvel's 4-issue series. I think it was this one and then the Marvel 4-issue, but I could be wrong.
But maybe I'm mistaken, because I know I have like 13 issues. So maybe I have the complete first series.
Yeah.
And then 2 issues from the other series.
It's more likely because you seem to be more interested in Golden Age stuff
Yeah. So
than
maybe.
Silver Age stuff. So But if
picked
you
them up.
have all 13 of these, that's a pretty
Yeah.
good undertaking to do that.
Well, somebody, one of my local comic guys, he had a really amazing Golden Age collection, and he never like changed the pricing for maybe
Yeah.
30 years, like 20, 30 years.
Yeah.
So I picked them up for like $10 each.
Yeah, it's great because like you think like, when in Back to the Future, when Biff went back in time to like
Yeah.
bet on the game, like imagine if we could go back in time. When
Mhm.
I went to that comic store in the Village Mall,
Mhm.
on the wall was an Amazing Fantasy 15, which
Oh,
I
wow.
wanted to buy. And I wanted my parents to buy it for me, right? It was $500.
Oh, wow.
Now, I didn't have that, like, in the 70s, I didn't have that kind of money. And my parents, they were working their butts off just to put the 4 kids through school and
Yeah,
medical and everything. Like, $500 was probably like the
like
tuition for our grade school for all, for all
yeah, it was
4
big
of us,
money
or
back
two,
then. Yeah,
like
yeah.
there's no way they're going to pay $500 for a comic book. But
What grade do you think it was?
I would say it was probably like a 4.0. I mean, it was,
Okay.
I mean, I never
Reasonable.
got it down off the wall. I don't know if it was attached or whatever, but it was
Mhm.
like, that's the comic I want,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, it's like the Grail, right?
Yeah. Yeah. That would
Wow.
have been something if I had that today.
Yeah, it's like one of those things. Like, I had the same experience when I was a kid. Like, there was this. I I was poor in the '90s, like really, really poor. Like, I would choose between eating or buying comics,
Yeah.
and often I would choose not to eat.
Yeah.
And I remember like sort of that mid '90s, like a lot of the comic shops went under, right? They just sort
Yeah.
of bellied up, and they would have these amazing collections that they would just sell for almost next to nothing. And I went into one shop, and they had a deal where you could, whatever the guide price was, you could take 50 to 75% off the guide price. So they had a Iron Man 1, not Iron Man 1, but
Tales of
Suspense
Suspense 39.
Suspense 39, yeah. Um, and I didn't, like, I saw, oh, it's issue 39. I didn't know, because back then it wasn't as obvious what was the first appearance.
Yeah.
Like, I didn't realize what it was, and I could have probably gotten it for maybe a couple $100, and it was like in a reasonable grade. It was like a mid-grade copy. It was like, it was kind of sad, but that was one of the things I missed out on. But
Well, it's funny that you mentioned that because that is my comic that got away too.
mhm.
About 6-7 years ago, I was in the middle of my divorce, and I was like, it was very expensive,
Yeah.
and I was like putting things on credit cards and everything. I was visiting my parents in New Jersey, and there's this comic store I used to visit. Whenever I visited them, I'd go to this comic book store.
Mhm.
He had a Tales of Suspense 39. This was like 6-7 years ago. It was complete. The cover was detached,
Okay.
and it was chipped. It was like
So like
really
a
low.
2.0 copy or
Yeah,
1.5 or something like that. Yeah.
$600.
Not bad.
And I was like, I was in there like debating, like,
Mhm.
I really can't afford this, and everything, but I should get it. I'm not going to see it again, and it's not going to be at this price again. Like, if I want
Mhm.
this in my collection. And I was like, just practical. I said, I can't afford it. Like, I have so
Yeah,
many
yeah.
bills right now. So I left. I went to my parents' house. I couldn't sleep. I was like
Mhm.
thinking about it, like dreaming about it and everything. I said, you know
Mhm.
what? I got to go get that. Like, there's
Mhm.
no way I'll ever have the opportunity again. And I went back, gone.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, yeah, there's ones that get away like that.
Yeah.
So that brings me to my next question for you. What comic are you chasing now? Are you still going after that Suspense 39, or what book is it that you're hunting?
You know what? I would love to find something like that. Yeah, that one I would love to find. The first Thor,
Mhm.
Hulk, the first Hulk. I'd really love to eventually, find the right deal, but
Mhm.
more practical. There's a couple of comics that I think are more like in my price range that I'm looking for. One is one that you've mentioned a couple of times, which is Crime Detective #9 with the Frederick Wortham like
On the cover?
on the cover. I
I
really
have
want to get.
I have an extra of those if
I know.
you're, so
I
you never
know.
know. Can maybe get it.
That one is one I'm looking for. I showed you those True Vision, those black ones,
Yeah,
right?
those are cool.
I'm looking for one. Romantic Adventures 48 is that's the last one. Those are really tough. They're just they're ghosts.
Hard to find.
The romance ones. I'm looking for Star Spangled Comics 122, which is the first appearance of Dr. 13. I know you like first appearances. Do you have that?
I love first appearances. I don't have that book, but
so that's what I'm looking for. I'm looking for the first appearance of Johnny Quest in the Gold Key comic. That one is very hard to find.
Really, I think I have that. Isn't it just Johnny Quest #1?
Well, yes, but there was like a Comico Johnny Quest, which I have.
And then there was the Gold Key.
The Gold Key, yeah. I haven't been able to hunt that one down. And then the other one is I don't know if you could see right here. I have the poor man's Archie 50. I got Archie 53 here. So I would like to find an Archie 50. You know what that one is.
Yeah. So I always saw those two books as kind of like a set.
Yeah.
Because they're both on the couch kind of thing.
Yeah.
It's so yeah.
This one's a lot less expensive though.
Yeah, I know. It's a lot less.
But they're very, they make a nice pair, right?
Yeah,
so I have one.
I have both, but
I know you do. So I'm that's one that I'm looking for. So those are mainly the things.
Those are all great books to chase.
Yeah, there's others as well, but like those are the main ones. I try to I have a list of a bunch of books I'm looking for, but I try to keep like some on focus, and I it's like, I don't know, like if you do that, I think you find them more, like, because
yeah, I agree. So what I do is I have my big want list, and it's just actually it's one of those lists. Normally lists get shorter over time.
Yeah,
mine gets longer over time.
Same.
And then I have my my top 10 that are where I'm putting my focus on. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And so far this year I got 8 out of my 10.
That's good.
And for my level, it's like they're really hard books to get. So,
yeah. Do you have that Jughead with the creature from the Black Lagoon coming out of the pool?
No, I know that book. It's another one that's on my list to look for, but it's just not a common book. It's really hard to find. So that's
another one I'm looking for too. But again, it's like, and the other thing is like, there are some other ones that I'm interested in, but they're like, they're pretty pricey. So you might have both of these, but they're electric chair covers, the Web of Evil, the orange cover.
I don't have that one. I have the other one.
The Strange Suspense Stories.
Yeah, I have that one.
Those are two, that I'm also looking for, but they're pricey. So it's like, I got to save up the money. I got to get bills paid off. I just moved here in the house, and I had a lot of expenses getting set up here that I'm still paying those expenses down. So I got a list, but they're good books.
Yeah. That Web of Evil one, I've been trying to pick it up as well. So that's but it's actually not that expensive. Like the Spence one's actually more expensive.
Yeah.
The Steve Ditko cover.
They're both great. I think those are the two best electric chair covers. I know.
Yeah. Those are the ones that everyone knows, actually. Yeah.
Because they're like, and the other ones, they're like smaller. They're in the electric chair, but there's like a whole scene going on, the cops around them and stuff. But these are like, they take up the whole.
The focus is on the electric chair.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, another one I'm looking for is because I know you got a Josie #1 recently, right?
Yeah, I actually have 2 copies of that.
Do you the one that I want is Josie 34. It's that funky cover with like the blue and pink swirls. Do you know that one?
It's sort of like that's typical 60s like psychedelic kind of stuff, or let me see. I do know that cover. I don't have it, but
Yeah.
I do know that one. It kind of reminds me of like the 60s like monkeys posters.
Yeah,
or,
monkeys, Austin Powers, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that kind of stuff. I just the way I always buy comics is I always go for like, there's runs that I go for, right? Because I am like a bit of a completionist.
Yeah.
But I always go for the big keys first, and then I get the filler books.
Right.
So, because if I feel like if I can't get the key, then why bother even playing? I don't know.
Yeah, and the other thing is like what happens to the price of the keys? They're always going up, right? So
I figure if I get those first, maybe I can.
Yeah. It's easier to fill it in later. Yeah.
Yeah. But so we should wrap it up. It was really great talking with you.
I had a great time. Thanks for inviting me on.
So what I was going to say is, where can people find you? I'm going to put it all in the description anyways, but you can say, and what are you up to?
Yeah. So right down here where it says Black Box Silver and Bronze, that's my YouTube channel, and that's my Instagram handle. It's the same on both. And so on Instagram, I mainly just post, cool covers of comics that I'm picking up. And sometimes I'll give some history about it. One of the things that I love about comic books is also the history of it.
Yeah, me too.
And so I like to share that as well. So if you look on Instagram, a lot of people just look at the pictures and like them, but there's some cool stuff that I write. You do too. Yeah. And then on YouTube, Black Box Silver and Bronze YouTube, and there's not going to be any specs. It's just going to be me showing comic books, mainly comic book hauls, comic books that I love, comic books in my collection. And also, like Alan mentioned at the beginning, I do love participating in your Friday Comic Challenge. And one of the reasons I love doing it is because I have boxes and boxes of comics that I don't see. Yeah. And when you do these challenges, I go and I look through them. And I get to enjoy looking at them. So I'm creating this room where I have, I'm putting comics up on the wall that I'm going to get, to visually enjoy. But this gets me to go in my box. So I try to participate in that because I really enjoy, like, it's a little selfish because I really enjoy like digging out my comics.
That's the whole point of the challenge, actually, to get people to show different things that we might not see.
Yeah.
But also to kind of enjoy our own comics and dig through the collections. Yeah. That's cool. So so I'm gonna put you backstage again.
Okay.
And one sec here. So thanks again for coming on the show. I recommend everyone that hasn't gone over to his channel yet, go over to Black Box Silver and Bronze and check him out. Subscribe to his channel and subscribe to him on Instagram, and you can see all his comics that he's posting. And thanks again. Wait, I'll actually bring you back. Do it properly.
All right.
Thanks again. And we'll say goodbye at that. So thanks
all right.
again.
Thank you. Bye-bye.